Hey there, it's me, Nate, and today I want to talk to you guys about all the books I went through in April. Right here, I'm resting my hands on 2 stacks of books, and right here on top of this table. And so we're just going to go through it. It's nice and toasty in my house, so I'm not going to try to make this a super long video, but 2 big stacks, so let's get to it. So starting off, I read Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. I actually ended up finishing this in the last few days of March, but I'm going to go ahead and include it here in this April recap video. But yeah, this is the quintessential starting point for reading all of the High Republic stuff, whether you read the books, the comics, or whatever. If you want to read the High Republic, you need to start from Light of the Jedi and then go from there. And I have a review for this on the channel already, so I'll probably put that somewhere on the screen where you can click that and go watch that review. So then, actually, hold on. So a few books that I had read or DNF'd, well, honestly, really just the ones I DNF'd, I don't have anymore because of some of them that I DNF'd I gave away to a friend. So after Light of the Jedi, I actually tried out Force Collector by Kevin Shinnick. This is another Star Wars book. It's marketed as YA, but to me it felt more like a middle grade book. It felt, I don't know, it just felt a little bit too young for me. I don't think it was bad. I didn't get super far into it, but it just, I don't know, I bounced off of it. But then, after that, I tried Speaker for the Dead by Orson Scott Card. This is the second book of the Enders... It was the quartet, now it's a quintet, I believe. Of the second book of the Enders Quintet. And this picks up right after Ender's Game. Well, not right after. It's, 20 years later or something like that. It's... I think it's 2,000 years after the end of Ender's Game. Something like that. So, before I had read this, I couldn't remember how far into the series I had got. Because I got the box set of the Ender's Quartet years ago. And it turns out, as I was reading Speaker for the Dead, I was like, oh, I remember all of this. And I remember how much I disliked it. Because I got those books before I started working, before I had my own disposable income. So if I got books, I kind of was just forced to read it because I didn't have any money or means to get something else to do, So I kind of just took in whatever was given to me. I couldn't be as picky or choosy. Speaker for the Dead, what is it called? Speaker for the Dead, Xenocide, and Children of the Mind. They're all bad books. Don't read them. Ender's Game is a masterpiece. You can read it as a standalone. Definitely read Ender's Game. I'd recommend it to everybody. But yeah, I ended up DNFing on Speaker for the Dead. I do plan on reading Ender's Shadow and reading the Shadow series. I already have a copy of Ender's Shadow. It's just whenever I get to it, that's when I'll read it. So I think I'm probably gonna look at my TBR. I'll probably hit it before the end of the year. So be looking forward to that. Next up, this is another reread for me, Red Rising. So I got this years and years ago. It was probably around 2016, 2017, closer to when it came out. I think this book, to me, Red Rising is YA space opera grimdark. And I know Red Rising is an adult book. I think it's more because of the messed up things that happen to characters more than the actual difficulty or prose of the book. Red Rising, despite having things like sexual assault, feels and reads very YA. So if you are a young adult reader who's wanting to transition to more adult reading, I think you might like Red Rising. I just don't like it. When I first read this book years ago, I thought it was just okay, and it was never really incentivized to continue on with the series. And now on the reread of it, I just don't care for it. I couldn't get through it, so I ended up DNFing it. And I know everybody says that after Red Rising, the books just explode in quality, and I'm sure that's true. But I don't like Darrow. I think Darrow as a main character sucks. I don't think he's very good. I think Darrow is a crappy character. But that's just my opinion. Let's see. Then I read The Time of Contempt by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the fourth Witcher book. And I have a review for it here on my channel. I'll put it somewhere up on the screen. And a lot of people consider this to be like the worst book in this series, and I can see why. It's definitely half-baked. There's things I really liked about it. There's other things I really disliked about it. It's kind of all over the place. But I do plan to continue on with the series. I already have the next book, Baptism of Fire. So I do plan on reading that and reviewing that at some point. So I'll be looking forward to that. Let's see. Next up, I DNF'd Ring Shout by P. Jelly Clark. I don't know if I pronounced that middle name right, but so Ring Shout is basically what if the KKK were like demons summoned through this satanic ritual, and they are basically kind of more like a demonic virus that assimilates and takes over white people, and they're turned into demons, but a lot of people don't realize it. They're kind of in disguise, It's really interesting. I really didn't like the prose. I thought the concept and a lot of ideas of it was really interesting. I actually ended up reading this because I was thinking about getting this book as a gift to my sister. And so even though I didn't like it, I think she really will. I think if you're a fan of the movie Sinners, with Michael B. Jordan, I think you might be interested in this book. It's a really interesting take. So, instead of vampires, think KKK demons. So, then I tried out Master of Evil. This is another Star Wars book. Obviously, one thing I will say, I love the cover on this. This melted Vader mask with him looking out, it's sick. But what's not sick is the book. So I ended up DNFing it. It is. I've tried multiple Sith Star Wars novels now, and so far I found them all to be pretty bad. Not horrible, but they're all, I think, very mediocre. Especially any Vader novel stuff. I think the Vader comics, the Disney Vader comics, are so good that you should just read those. And especially this book, especially Master of Evil, is literally just a retread of a lot of the plot threads from the comics. So it feels highly redundant. And a lot of the... And I know, obviously, the Sith are a lot, very much about, anger and hate and fear. But, the books, at least the Sith novels that have came out so far that I've read, never really go past that to an interesting plot or conclusion or theme. It's very much just focuses on those, and it's it's really boring to read and derivative. Another book I've already given away is Lords of the Sith by Paul S. Kemp. So, like I just said with Masters of Evil, another Sith novel, but this one's more focused on Vader and Palpatine and their relationship together. Then, Iron Widow by Jiren J. Zhao. I'm sure I butchered that. This is, think if you've watched the anime Darling in the Franxx, it's like that. And the main character is Zero Two. And if you don't watch anime, you don't get that reference. Think Gundam or Pacific Rim, where there's two pilots, a man and a woman, but usually the female pilots die. But in this one, the main character, she's special. And when I say special, I mean it in the derivative, like, bad novel way, where she's not like the other girls kind of way, where she's able to kill the male pilots. I think it's pretty bad. It's pretty mediocre. The main character, whose name I can't remember, is like basically like, you know, she starts out like on this kind of like revenge quest, but she's like so self-centered. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't really have much positive to say about it. I wouldn't recommend it. Then next up was Discovery by J.A.J. Minton. Ooh, got a hair on there, stuck on there. But yeah, Discovery by J.J. Minton. This is the first book from the Talking Story YouTube channel, that family, the Minton family. So John, Amy, and Jacob Minton. Love the channel, love their content. I don't love their book. I don't think it's bad. I think it's just not for me. And I didn't get super far into it, so I'm not gonna judge it too harshly or anything. But you know, it just didn't work for me. Oh, I will say though, not to shill or anything, but I do like their channel and I'd like to support them. They are doing hardback editions of Discovery, and I think that's wrapping up by May 8th. So if you want a hardback of Discovery, you know, definitely get into that. And I will say, if you are a cosmic horror fan, there aren't that many cosmic horror books, like new releases coming out that I see. So if you are interested, maybe you should try out Discovery. This was, let's see, this next one was painful because I ended up reading and really not enjoying Aragon by Christopher Paolini. This was like a very much a childhood favorite when I was like, I don't know, like probably like preteen age, like, you know, 11, 12 maybe, maybe 10. I read Aragon and absolutely fell in love with it. And I was thinking about getting the Broken Binding editions of the 4 main books, Aragon, Eldest, Brissinger, and Inheritance. Yeah, Inheritance. Oh, Inheritance is the 4th one. So I was thinking about getting the Broken Binding edition. So I was really thinking about reading all 4 of the main books and then buying the Broken Binding editions. But Aragon, for me at least as an adult, I don't think it holds up. I think it's kind of rough to read as an adult. I think it's still probably really good for younger readers. Like I said, like that preteen kind of age range is like kind of like, oh, if they want to read something other than Harry Potter, they have Aragon. But yeah, as I am now, I really didn't enjoy it. And I do have a review for that. I did, so that I'll put a link here on the screen. Give me 1 sec. I need some water. But yeah, so that was Aragon, and I was hoping, you know, that maybe it would get better as the series went. So I did try Eldest, and I still found it to be like the same, maybe slightly better, but of the same overall quality. So I ended up DNFing Eldest. And then, so I don't usually try to be like this, but a lot of people love Solo Leveling because of the manhwa and the anime. And I got started with Solo Leveling reading the manhwa during like the early chapters, and I thought it was sick. And I caught up with like the official release of what they had out at the time. It's like, man, I don't want to wait for the next chapter. And then I looked into it and I found out it was based on a novel. So like probably like 4 or 5 years ago, I went and read all of the Solo Leveling novel volumes. And I enjoyed it. I've probably read the series like 2 or 3 times. And I was bumping around on Amazon one day and I found out that they have a cool hardback like special edition of all 8 volumes. It's a big one. It's big. So I bought it and I was like, you know, I'll reread it and then, you know, I'll do a review on the channel. And I don't really care for it anymore because I think the last time I reread the series was probably like 3 years ago, and I find it boring now. I think because honestly, it's mostly just, you know, Sung Jin Woo aura farming and kind of just like posting up on like people who are way weaker than him. It is a bit too power fantasy for my liking. So I think it's probably, maybe it's still good the first time around, but like coming back to it on a reread, I find it really boring. So I ended up DNFing on that. All right. So another kind of lit RPG-ish story, but very different. So I read, let's see, I read the first 3 volumes of So I'm a Spider, So What? Now you might be thinking, what is that title? So I'm a Spider, So What? Well, first off, it is a Japanese light novel series, and they have some of the best cover art on these volumes. Because this is volume 1, this is volume 2, and this is volume 3. And I just love the covers on these. And like a lot of light novels, they have illustrations on the inside that are really great. But getting to what it is a, bear with me, it is a isekai lit RPG epic fantasy. And that might sound really daunting, and it can be, but it's not too bad. So an isekai, for those who may not know, is a kind of like basically it's like the Japanese version of like a portal fantasy, where basically a person or a group of people gets transported to another world, or like they die in our world and get like reincarnated to another world, that kind of thing. And that's basically what happens to our main character in So I'm a Spider, So What? Where she is in a classroom, a high school classroom in our world. There's like a magical kind of like blast or explosion that happens, and then she dies and gets reincarnated to our world as like the spider monster. And as the spider monster, and like all the people in like this new world, there is like this like lit RPG game system where everybody has like skills and can level up and stuff. And so she's like reincarnated. Like the spot where she's reincarnated in is like this huge like labyrinth. It's like the biggest like labyrinth or dungeon in the world. And so that's how the series kind of starts. She has to like, she's been reincarnated as a monster. She has to like figure out how this world works, and she has to figure out, you know, how to get out of this labyrinth. And that's how the series starts. But as the series goes, you start seeing things from other perspectives, from other characters in the world, in completely different locations. And you start to realize that, oh, some of these perspectives are happening at different points in time. And, you know, obviously in different locations too. So there's a lot of like greater story and greater mystery that's happening in the world. And this is actually a reread for me, because the series is 16 volumes. And as you go, you start to realize it may be an isekai, but it is also at the same time a satirization of that genre. Because by the time this came out, there had been so many like isekai like light novels and manga that it had become very kind of like stale in Japanese kind of media. And so like this is almost like a satirization or like a mockery. It's almost like a meta commentary on those kind of genres. To me, I think of it as like the Scream of isekais, but that's probably way too in depth for like a lot of people. But anyway, so instead of putting out 16 reviews for this, I decided to just, whenever I do get around to finishing the series, I'm just going to probably put out just like a series review for the whole series. But I'm just reading these like on the side. Like say if I have a day where I'm like, I DNF something, I'll just read some of one of the volumes or something. So, almost done. Actually, no, we're not. All right. So next up, we have A New Dawn by John Jackson Miller. This is a Star Wars novel. This is the first Disney Star Wars novel that was published, and it stars the first meeting of Kanan Jarrus and Hera Syndulla from Star Wars Rebels. So if you're a Rebels fan, you might want to read this. This is a reread for me. When I first read it years ago, I didn't really care for it, and I, still don't now. So I ended up DNFing. Wildfire. This is by Carson Knight. This is kind of like a YA dark kind of fantasy, dark academia fantasy. It's not very good. I had this like years ago when I was a teenager, and as I'm clearing through books, I wanted to see if it was any good, because I remember at the time I didn't like it, so I didn't continue with the next book, and I still feel that way. So, next up is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, the first book in her Shades of Magic trilogy. I have all three novels of the trilogy, and I've read all three novels. Any of the time when I read them, because I read all three, I didn't DNF at the time. I read all three books, and I kind of just read them to have something to do at the time. I didn't think they were even that good. I was like, no, they're fine. And rereading them now, rereading at least this first one, I thought it was like pretty mediocre, so I just DNF'd it and moved on. Next up, I had The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. And this is an interesting book, because I was really enjoying it at first. Then towards like 40% of the way through, I got kind of like tired, and I actually ended up putting it down for a little bit and went to try out some other things. But I came back, ended up finishing it and loving it. I think the book's a masterpiece. I think it's great. And I'm gonna put the link to the review here on the screen, which I hope you go and watch it, because at the time of this recording, that video is not doing well at all, which is a shame, because I really, I think I gush a lot about the book in there. I don't really talk a lot about the cons in it, but I had such a great, interesting time with this book. So if you could check out that review, that'd be great. Let's see. Then next up, we have another Star Wars book, The Living Force by John Jackson Miller. The best thing about this book is the cover, because it's like kind of like that classic like Star Wars movie poster art. It's really sick. And basically this takes place, it's before Phantom Menace, and it's kind of a story about the Jedi Council actually getting up and doing something for once. Alright, I think my battery's about to die, so if this cuts out, just we'll pick it up. Next up, we have Full Moon by Jim Butcher. This book is awful. I thought Stormfront was pretty good, but this book is pretty awful. It's a werewolf story, and a lot of people say that this is the worst Dresden Files book, and that you should just skip it. I hope it gets better with the next book, Grave Peril, and it can turn things around, because if I don't like Grave Peril, I'm going to drop the series. Because Full Moon is just like it's a really terrible book. Next up is The Black Echo by Michael Connelly. This is the first book of his Harry Bosch universe. And I got halfway through the book before I ended up DNFing it. I think Bosch is pretty like miserable kind of character, and not miserable in a way. He's kind of like old and like grouchy. He's like really when he's actually doing detective work, it's really interesting, but anything outside of him on the job is pretty boring. His romantic relationship with Eleanor Wish, I thought was terrible. It was like really cringy and awkward. So no. Next up, we have the Abhorsen trilogy by Garth Nix. So I actually did a review for Sabriel way earlier this year. I'll put a link to the review somewhere up here. And I haven't read Lyriel yet. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. So I started that up, and I knew, it didn't follow. It wasn't from Sabriel's perspective. You follow Lyriel. You follow this new character, and I really don't like her. I found her to be really annoying, and complaining and whinging about how you know, her life and how miserable it is and stuff. And I just didn't really find it that interesting. I wanted more stuff with Sabriel and Touchstone. I wanted that story. I didn't want this new character that didn't interest me. And like there's like this new villain that they introduce, and I think it sucks. I think it's bad. So I am happy to have this really cool hardback, because the reason I got this is because I was wanting a hardback of Sabriel, and I figured I just go ahead and pick this up because it's, you know, that way I'd have a hardback, you know, for Lyriel and a Whoreson. But yeah, I think I'll just treat Sabriel as basically a standalone, because I don't really have any interest in continuing on for the rest of the books. I think the only one I might, and it's like might as in like a very infinitesimally small chance of this happening, is Terciel and Eleanor. I think that's the prequel with Sabriel's parents. Maybe I would read that somewhere down the line, but I doubt it. And then next, I have The Magicians by Lev Grossman. I got this as a birthday gift from my sister years and years ago, and I didn't really like it at the time. I thought the main character, Quentin, was like this really pretentious genius. It felt like it came out of that era of where like it was cool to be depressed and be nihilistic and think that everything sucks, and like you're like owed, you know, cool stuff in life. But I hated it. I really didn't like it at the time, so I DNF'd it, and then reading it now, I think it's even worse than I thought it was back then, so I DNF'd it again. I haven't tried the TV show. I hear the TV show is better than the books, so maybe one day I'll read the TV show. I hear that they made the characters actually likable in the TV show somewhat, and they, you know, so maybe I'll do that at some point. Next is another reread. This is my last for the month of April, so finally. So we have Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. This is the first book of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and like the thing that, well, I mean, he had other series, but the thing that made Rick Riordan, I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Riordan? Riordan? I don't know. Anyway, Riordan. That really made him huge was Percy Jackson. At least I think. Somebody might be like, oh, his 39 Clues or his Tres Navarro, one of his other series. But I grew up with Percy Jackson. Similar to like how I mentioned earlier in the video with like Aragon, Percy Jackson came out, the series started up when I was in school. So I think from like 5th, 6th grade, by 8th or 9th grade, I read like the first 5 books, you know, and then years later when he did the sequel series, I read those too. So I'm rereading, you know, I was rereading the series as I'm going through all my books. And I think I've just kind of, I really don't like this phrase because it sounds like you're really looking down on stuff for younger readers, but I think I have aged out of Percy Jackson. I don't think it's bad. I think it's still good if you're still like that young preteen teenager age. But I just can't jive with it anymore. It's not for me. I'm nostalgic about it, you know. There's like, I have memories of when I really enjoyed it, but like going back and rereading it now, I don't feel it, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, sorry for going on for so long. I don't know how long this video is going to end up being, but that was my wrap up of everything I read in April. So I didn't finish that many books, actually. Hold on, let me see. Let me count. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I did finish 6 books in April. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You know, the volumes of Soma Spider, So What, those aren't super long. Each one's probably like 250-ish pages, but they're still books. They're still actual books. So yeah, I finished 6 books in April. So I think I did pretty good. Starting in April, I was trying to aim for like reading 100 pages a day, and I did that, like, you know, except for the days like on when I would DNF. But yeah, I think April was a pretty good month. I got through a lot of stuff on my TBR list, just, you know, clearing through it. And so yeah, that's pretty much, you know, all of my reading that I did in the month of April. Gonna get started on my May reading here, and I think in the next coming days I'll have a May TBR video, and I think I'm also gonna do like kind of like an April book haul video showing like all the new books I got during the month of April, because I have some cool stuff to show off. But yeah, so in the comments down below, if you'd like, you could tell me about your reading in April, what you read, what you got through, whether you're continuing a series or starting something new, and tell me what you think of this. I know I spent most of this was just a bunch of DNFs, but I think as I read more and more, I am narrowing in more and more on what I like and what I dislike, and I think that's really good, because I don't ever consider trying something a waste of time. Like, even if I end up not liking that thing, I'm glad to have experienced trying it just to find out, you know, because I feel like the people who criticize something or who look down on something without having actually tried or gone through it themselves, I don't really take that opinion seriously. So I at least always want to try a story or a book, to see if I like it, because you never know. Because it's like, sometimes you'll have the thought where it's like, oh, that doesn't sound very good, or it doesn't sound like something I would like, and then you actually read it, and then you turn to really be shocked by it. I didn't think I was going to like The Golden Compass. I think that book is great. I think that book's amazing. So I'm always going to try. If I'm even slightly interested, I'm always down to try a book. But yeah. That's pretty much all I got talking about for this video. So if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, and have a good day. Till next time.